bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Hi, welcome to the 4th episode of The Republic of Me. My name is Ivana, and this is a channel where I share my creative journey and some parts of my life living on an island in the Mediterranean. How are you? Well, we made it to the second part of 2020. How are you doing? One thing that I think everybody would agree is that this has been a year that will be remembered. For me, mixed emotions of fear and anger, as well as beautiful moments spent at home with my family, were laced with flow of creativity, which acted as an anchor. Confusion of mixed emotions seemed to be the theme. I was thinking how to and whether to do this podcast. I was in two minds about it. One, I am a very private person and very selective of who enters my house. And after I uploaded the second episode, I believe, I felt very exposed because I've invited the whole world to enter my house. And I wanted to close the YouTube channel. I didn't want to continue. I went for a couple of days through that pattern. But then I thought, in a lot of your comments, you thanked me for whatever reason, and that stayed with me. And it made me think, did it maybe give you an escape? Did it help you in any sort of way? Recording the creative processes and inspiration is wonderful, and it's a big part of my life. It's a massive part of my life. That's all I do, and that's all I did for years now. And it kept me sane through the times of turmoil and in earthquakes. And so, watching some other podcasts, like for example, I watched just yesterday, I believe, or the day before, Katie Green from Katie Green podcast. And she spoke about some very personal issues, and the comics that she illustrates are also about topics that are very personal to her. Which initially for me was, for me to do something like that, it was a big no-no. But then I thought, how many people can that actually help? And it brings humanity currently in the world where I think we are lacking some. I think it's somewhat important that we share the things from our life. Because if we do, if I do in this case, then I would be able to share the things that have helped me and how I went through them. And now we're opening the audience, which is worldwide. It's not just sitting and talking to a friend. It's been a year. It's been, I think most of us can agree that it's been a year. Very interesting, very challenging, very fast, certain energetic imprint that I don't think anybody expected. We all have different ways of dealing with stressful periods in our life. Working with fibre and yarn, for me, is one of them. I find that the simplicity of repetitive motion quiets my thoughts just enough, but not overwhelmingly so that it requires intense focus that often drains me. Also, working with such an old craft, it kind of connects me to all of our ancestors. And I know that sounds a bit too spiritual if you're not in that sort of thing, but it does ground me. And it feels like a mindful meditation. I started knitting about 3 years ago or so. Actually, no, the first scarf that I knitted was when I was 9 years old. My grandmother, she was a great knitter, and she taught me how to do a basic stitch, and I made a scarf for my dad. Well, half of a scarf. I kind of got bored and my mom finished the rest. But I properly started knitting about 3 years ago. And here's a little background story why. So I ran a candle making business, which became quite successful. It was supporting the whole family. It was a natural candle business. I was supplying hotels and spas, luxury hotels and spas. So it was moving. It was, and they also opened a retail shop. It was moving in the right direction. It really was, and I enjoyed what I was doing. But it crossed the line of too much work. It wasn't even just too much work. It crossed the line. It was 16-hour days, no weekends. So I would be in the shop during shop hours for, I guess, for 9 hours. Then I would come home. I would put the kids to bed as fast as I could. And I would go to my studio to start restocking the shop and fulfill any orders that I had. You don't realize, I didn't realize how fast the time was passing and how quickly the kids grew. One, I was getting very tired, dizzy like twice a day, that I would have to hold myself to the table. Christmas time, forget it. You don't know when you sleep and where you sleep. You sleep when you can and where you can, even if it's in the floor at the back of the shop. And then one time, my older son, who was around 9, I believe, at that time, it was Mother's Day, and there was the school sent me a video greeting card from him. And I'm sure he said much more things, but these are the ones that stayed with me. He said, "Mom, I love you. Thank you for giving me money, for washing my clothes. I don't know you very well because I don't see you that much, but happy Mother's Day, Mom, I love you." He didn't say it as a complaint. He said it as a matter of fact. I didn't do all that work for another pair of shoes. I did it for them, the kids, so I can afford the private schooling. So, but they didn't know. They don't see what's going on behind the camera. They just don't, behind the curtain. All they see is a mother who sees them 2 hours a day, cannot wait to put them to bed because she has to start the next shift while they're sleeping, but they don't know that. And then on the weekend, I'm zombified with migraines and so forth. So even though making candles was my love, I really liked it. The moment we could afford closing down the shop, the business, we did. I closed the door, and that was it. That was about 3 years ago. When I came home, the first 1-2 months, I was enjoying myself. But then I started getting depressed. And I didn't know why. So, one point, I sat down, Ivana, just me with myself, myself and I. And I started digging. Okay, what's going on? Because not only was the depression there, but the guilt that the depression was there. Because I thought to myself, okay, you got everything you wanted now. You have money. You don't have to work. You can be at home with your kids. You can paint as much as you want, and you're still not happy. What more do you want? Well, it's not that I wanted more, but the whole self-identity disappeared. It got wiped out. Because for the longest time I was the provider. And I came home and that was gone. And I had to get to know myself again without working 16-hour days. I had to get to know my children again. It was a process, but the moment I found out why I was getting depressed, it helped. It helped tremendously, because then the guilt disappeared, and that was weighing me down a lot. So that is the time when I started knitting. It relaxed me. It made my hands busy, which they were always busy while I was working with candles. It allowed me to create, but in such a easy way, because most of my knits, if not all of them, are very simple designs, simple stitches, and it is definitely about the process for me rather than the finished object. That is also the time when I was obsessively painting. And so, slowly, I started knitting and painting my way back to me. One stitch and one brush stroke at a time. In the evenings here, very often, almost every night, I get a nice surprise. I sit in the kitchen, and because it's kind of connected to the living room, and that's where my computer is. And that's where I sit, watch different things, documentaries or podcasts, and I knit. And I hear almost every night, I hear this really loud sound. And it's an owl. And there is a special thing that I have for owls. I even have an owl tattoo. And also what I get, well, what we get, but I get to usually experience it because I'm the one that stays the latest in the night, is hedgehogs. Not every night, but almost every night, in the summer especially, a hedgehog comes over and eats our dog's food. Now, I don't know if the hedgehog actually live, because they are the nocturnal animals, and they come out in the night. I don't know if the hedgehog actually lives in our garden, or he goes across the road to a field during the day and then just comes to our garden during the night. But it's so lovely to see them. It's usually one at a time, but sometimes we get two, couple. I don't know if it's mama and the baby or just two hedgehogs, but it's so nice. They're so cute. But whenever we try to approach it, or when I try to approach it, it kind of curls up in a ball. So Mario was awake and Nicola was awake one night when the hedgehog came. So Mario set up the camera, the one that I'm recording on now. He put it on the grass. So we just kind of went inside in the kitchen, switched off the lights, and we waited. I was so happy when I saw the footage. It was such a nice experience.
I was on its way out. I wasn't sober and I was thinking out loud. I spoke of your bravery, your wit and audacity, of coming over and letting go of it all. Please move close to me. Beside me, you held my hand in the dark. I started fighting, 'cause I was scared of it all. And isn't it glorious how love gets the best of us? Yeah, I got feelings, but I'm a tough one sometimes. Please move close to me.
One of the things that I was working on is this crochet basket made out of my handspun yarn. The yarn that I used is woolen spun coriadel, which I held double, meaning 2 strands at a time. These are not the exact shades that I used in the basket, but the yarn is the same type yarn. I had some scrap leather strips which I used as handles. I've never really worked with leather much, so I don't have a lot of experience, but attaching the handles seemed quite straightforward, and I had some leather tools and that was just what I needed. After making holes in the handles, I've attached them with the embroidery floss. I've made a few baskets before, but this is the first time that I gave them leather handles, and I'm really happy how it came out. Another project that I'm working on, but this one is not finished yet, is a jumper for myself. I'm working with this merino yarn in natural grey, and it is one of the nicest fibers that I have ever worked with. It is so soft. To think that something so beautiful is completely natural and has no dye in it really amazes me.
What's left to wait for here? My eyes are asleep. I miss you. Bet you're feeling all alone in that big house by the lake this evening. The days here I come to bleach. Oh honey, I need you to hold me. Let's brave the crushing waves in a boat made of roses and oak tree. A little star shining down on us, wherever we may be. A little star shining down on us, wherever you and me. When my days here come to bleach, oh honey, I need you. Well, let's brave the crashing waves in a boat made of roses and oak trees.
So like I mentioned earlier, if you have any other ideas or tips how you have managed the moments of stress for you and that you think that can help somebody, please put them in the comments below. At the moment I read every comment and I do answer to each one. I don't know how that is going to be if we get overwhelmed with comments. As it is for now, I am reading all of them. I think it can help because I think a lot of people will be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder when this finishes or even before it finishes, but I think it's coming, and anything that we can share, I think it's very welcome. In our case, it is working with yarn. Painting relaxes me, but in a different way. It also takes out a lot of my energy as well, especially if I'm doing portraits, because I do have to focus quite a bit. Maybe I'm going to start painting again and work more abstract, which is different. It's like improvised dancing. But for now, yarn and knitting, crochet, weaving, spinning, it's where I'm turning to. And if this is the way that we are dealing with inner turmoils, it's not really a bad thing. It's a nice way to do it. And one of my favorite quotes, I have a lot of favorite quotes, but one of them, Elsie the Wolf, she said, "I'm going to make everything around me beautiful. That will be my life." So I'll leave you with that and a few weeks in making. Thank you. Bye for now.
Look ahead, the sea is calm, and I know we've been through a lot, but just
vision that I saw is getting closer every dawn. Ooh, we are dreamers of the shore. 7 years now on this boat, and we all know where we belong. Just wait. Wait for our home to show on the horizon. Soon we'll be there. Hold on tight. I can smell the shore, it's right in front of us. If we just hold on tight, this vision that I saw is getting closer every day.